Does increasing army tradition increase the odds of a good general or change what you can get? Ah, yes. Let me make this very explicitly and obviously clear so everyone understands exactly what army tradition does, how it increases, and what it means. Army tradition. Crash course time. Sorry, viewers, but this is going to be a little tedious to get through. But let's go over a very comprehensible view of what army tradition does. So, chatters, army tradition. How do we get that? That comes from battles. Also from like various events, buildings, stuff like that. It decays by usually around 5% at the beginning of the game. You can reduce this decay through several means. I believe quality might decrease your decay. Never mind, it just gives you plus 0.5, which is not quite the same thing as decreasing your decay, because it's percent based. You get it basically from fighting people. That's the main way. You can also just get it like automatically ticked up by fully maintaining forts. For every 50 developments you have, you need to have one fully maintained fort at the current fort tech level for it to count. Well, for it to give its max capability. So for instance, my development is ridiculous. Yeah, 10,582. Divide this by 50 to get the number of fully maintained forts at the current fort level I would need to get, I believe it's 0.5 army tradition? Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah. Yeah, aristocratic decreases army tradition decay. Quality gives you some army tradition. I felt like defensive did as well. No, defensive gives you army tradition from battles, which is very useful. It essentially just doubles the amount you get from battles, and your main source is battles, which means on average you're basically doubling it. Of course, late game you're fighting so much that, as you can see, it doesn't matter, you just have a bunch anyway. Army tradition gives you a lot of really useful benefits. We have the passive effects, which are morale of armies up to 25% increase. Manpower recovery speed, also very useful. Recover army morale speed, a little less useful, but it's okay. Siege ability is very useful, but this doesn't provide all too much. If you're looking for siege ability, you want to max out professionalism. This will give you 20% siege ability. So max professionalism plus max army tradition, 25% siege ability right off the bat. I don't know if I've mentioned how useful siege ability is before, but you want siege ability. It's really good. Like, really good. 17-day siege cycle type of good. But there's also another effect, and that is whenever you hire a general, at the bottom it tells you how many pips that general can have. But yeah, generals, generally speaking, are going to have a certain number of pips that they can be generated at. And so early on, your army tradition is going to be very bad. And so your leader can have between like 1 and 7, I think, at like 0 army tradition. I don't remember. The higher your army tradition, the higher this goes. There's actually a formula for this. If you want to look at it on the wiki, you know, you can do that, and you can literally just look at the formula. Now, if your army tradition is below a certain threshold, it is not like statistically speaking, as in like outside of certain deviations of the norm, but literally impossible to get a general of a certain number of pips. Basically, if you want to get a high pip general, you're going to need high tradition, which is why army tradition is one of the most important things, because one of the most important things in a battle, if all else is equal, it's having a better general. Would you rather have a 0066 general or a 6600? Definitely 6600. Fighting capability is the primary thing to look out for. You may want to diversify your generals and have certain generals which are not as good at fighting, but are better at sieging. And sometimes you'll just get generals which are just good at both. For instance, this general is a 6535, good at siege, good at fighting. But you're not guaranteed that, of course. And the reason why I have good generals is because I just keep on spamming them out. Whenever I get a bad general, I'm like, yeah, no, this guy's leaving. And then I just get a different one. But yes, army tradition, by far, one of the most important things to maintain. There's your army tradition crash course.